Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Brew and Wilk from Agent Moves, and welcome to a Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories of top realtors and how they got there so we can help make more realtors great. And here's our guest today, Samantha Aybar. Hey, Samantha.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
All right, so nice to meet you, and thanks
You
for
too.
taking the time. Samantha's in Naples, Florida, beautiful area, a lot of luxury stuff going on there, and we'll talk about real estate in a bit. But I love introducing agents with something not about real estate. This one is kind of amazing, guys, so get ready. So Samantha is an ultra marathoner. And I kind of knew something when I saw her watch. I knew that wasn't your typical runner's watch. Ultra marathons are 100-mile runs. I never ran my first mile till I was 50, Samantha, and then three half marathons at 55. And then my wife, I was dehydrated, so you're never doing this again. And then I did a 108-mile bike ride, but 100 miles on the road, I cannot imagine running. Tell us a little bit about how the heck did you get into this and the preparation for these things?
Well, the preparation's hard because I only trail run. And down here in Naples, we have roads and we have swamp, the Everglades. So the preparation's difficult. I have to get creative. I got into it. I feel like I got tricked into it a little bit.
Really?
And by friends, I'd been around the ultra community for years, so I had been the support for my
Okay.
friends, and been in there, and I was very active. I was never a runner, backpacking, hiking, all that. And so then I kind of got, well, hey, you go backpacking all the time, let's go do this short race. And okay, and so I kind of did a short one by just for fun. Like, I'm talking 5, 10K, something
Right.
like that. And I just barely moved along. And then I had a friend said, "Oh, I signed us up for this really cool race and we're going to go stay at an Airbnb and go to it." So I didn't ask questions. I don't like to know things ahead of time. I just like jumping into the world, right? And so we show up that morning, it's dark, we have our headlamps, we're in the woods, and we're walking up to the table and checking in. And she said, "Last name?" I said, "Abar." And she said, "Okay, here's your bib number. Go down there for the 50K people." And I said, "What? 50K? How far is that? I don't do numbers." And so, long story short, I was told, "Just don't think about it. You'll be fine. You can do it." And so I I did it. I
Yeah,
did it.
wow.
I mean, I didn't think I could, but you can do things. And I felt, I was around positive people and I didn't feel the pressure. And then the addiction started from there. So I got tricked into it, and it was great mental therapy through the years. You go
Yeah.
out there and you sort out life's problems and world peace, and you come out brand new and fresh.
I mean,
Right,
just
the realtor.
absolutely amazing. And yeah, for people that don't, I don't know how people don't exercise. I don't get it because what you
Mhm.
get out of it is so much more than you put into it. But you're at an extreme, but your regular week, obviously you're not running 100-mile marathons, all week. So just absolutely amazing. But it says a lot about you and perseverance and everything, still training to get to 100 miles. It's nuts. So let's get into real estate now, right? Because now we know a little bit about who you are, right? You got some good crazies in you, which is awesome. Tell us about the story. How do you get involved in real estate? And because I know you have some interesting connections here.
I do. Before real estate, I sold insurance, so sales was familiar. I got burnt out and quit one day and didn't know what I was going to do for my next chapter in life. And a friend suggested I get my real estate license. And I thought, yeah, I've bought and sold a few homes. I did it on my own. I can handle that. Great idea. Went and got my license. We were having a big Super Bowl party with some friends the following week, and I was so excited to go give them my new business cards and ask for their referrals because you practice on your friends, right? And I showed up and I got out my cards, and then I scanned the room and I knew everyone there. And I realized that 99% of my friends were realtors and they were not going to help me get my business started. And my heart just sank. And I thought, what did I just do? So for before I even get started in the business, I have to take another pivot. I had a plan. I was gonna, work my sphere, and that came to a screeching halt really quick before it even got started. So that was my intro to real estate was devastation.
Okay, so where do you go from there? Now you have to wake up and say, I have my license. My sphere isn't what I thought it was. How do you
Yeah,
get going?
so I still talk to all of them. I went around because again, everyone has different experiences, different stories. Everyone does different things. I had friends that were rental agents. I didn't even know the difference at the time. So I still went and talked to all of them. Hey, I got my real estate license. Where do I go? That's kind of what do I do? And I kind of just asked the general question, and they all had different ideas of how I should get started, and where I should get started and what I should do. And it just really became me going back out into the community, which I was very involved in, but not as I kind of had to shift my networking. I still went to the networking groups that I did for insurance, but all of a sudden now I'm in real estate. And so it was a good, kind of leap into there because I realized I couldn't rely on anyone else and do the more referral sphere,
Yeah.
and I had to go and really talk about myself out into the general public quicker than I thought I would have to. And I
Yeah.
had to gain confidence where I knew nothing.
Really interesting. So that
Yeah.
first year you had this plan, now you're thrown into it. How does it go? Like, you're 6 months in. Did it start like happening fairly quickly when as you were, kind of meeting people face to face?
It didn't happen as quick as I thought. And as we know, the first year of real estate is when most quit. I didn't have the support that I thought I should have. It's really, I felt excited. It was a different experience than when I got my insurance license. It's like you
Yeah.
got your license and hey, it's like a little bird that throws its chicks out of the nest. It's like go figure out life. And I'm very good at working on the fly and winging it, but when you have your first couple transactions and you're not confident, it was scary. It was really scary. And so I kind of shifted accidentally, got into the construction business. I got some
Yep.
offers. That's a whole nother, third act in my life. And I focused more on the construction business than real estate. But I did deals throughout, kept nurturing people that I would meet. And then while I was in the construction business, is where the fire got sparked again because I was working in these homes that they were new builds, new construction, and the agent or the builder, depending upon which route they had gone to get this home, would bring the clients through for different walkthroughs. And I found myself, because that's who I am, taking over the walkthrough and pointing out all these amazing things that they had clearly designed, but I was so excited and passionate about them that I was kind of taking over and walking them through their house, and in my hard hat and my jeans and sneakers and work boots. I had a few people in the construction business that said, why don't you go into real estate? I said, well, I am a realtor. So eventually I did, um, I did that for a couple of years and it worked good, to have it allowed me to build up my real estate but not go too far away from it,
Yep.
and I would meet different people on job sites and, I helped them buy and sell homes. So it was a really great experience. Plus you get to really understand the mechanics of a home and hey, now as a realtor, I have vision for people that don't. So, and then I slowly got out of construction and just went full force with real estate. And that's how I got here.
Right. Okay. All right. So tell us now, give us the first year you go full force, right? So you do hear this a lot, right? Agents, transitioning, over the course of a year, and like to your point, a lot of it doesn't go well. And then they get out of it. They get their license, but I have a job, but I want to be a realtor, but I can't just quit and do this full time. And from what I've seen, the ones that don't, it is really hard to make that, that transition. So now you did it, right? You got enough. You say goodbye to construction. You're into real estate. Tell us about that first year. Like, did you have a big enough database? Were you still, to really, have enough income? Or were you back out, into the community? What were you doing to generate, more listings and more buyers?
Really went back out into the community, and I work best in person. I don't like even making phone calls. Even I mean, I do like phone calls over emails and texts, which can be bothersome to my friends because they're like, just text me. I want to talk to you because text and email can be they can be great touch points, but they're very impersonal. You
Yeah.
don't hear the tone, you don't get the excitement or, the happy, the sad, the good, the bad. So I really went back out into the community and focused face to face. I'm like, no, I'm going out there and I'm going to get my business face to face in my networking groups and really focusing on that and trying different ways to get personal and being creative. I had a good relationship with some friends that worked for builders. So I kind of wormed my way into them in a sideways. I didn't work for a builder, but I was allowed to eventually, if they had days off, I could help them out and sit the models. And it wasn't about selling there necessarily, it was building those relationships with the builders, with
Mm.
the staff in the for the developer. And I did that, and then eventually, it took about, I would say, 8 years for me to really see some fruit from it. But that just goes to show, and it became huge low hanging fruit for me. I was allowed eventually to close out some of the communities that they were
Cool.
building, and so I was able to list those, get the referrals that were coming in. I didn't have a product for them then.
Mhm.
So then they became mine. So it really, you got to get creative
Yeah.
when you're like me. There's people get business different ways, and for me, it's really got to be in person. I have to have that personal relationship with you, and it took 10 years for me to get to where I am now, but 90% of my business comes from personal referrals.
That's great. What other kind of, what else were you doing in the community? Like what other kind of groups were you, getting involved with?
The chamber, you get involved with the chamber, you get involved with different it's always good to find different, charities that you can work for. We have unique circumstances here where, we're some of the lucky few that get hurricanes. So we, and really just being the support out there for your community. When you see a need, do something about it, whether it's hurricane related or not. People need a house. People just need solutions sometimes. It's like, what do I do with this? I'm out talking to someone at a networking event and they're like, oh my gosh, this and that. And I'm like, oh, I've got a guy for that. I've got people for that. And, you become the resource for them when, I've heard a lot. How do you know all these people? How do you know all these things? How do you know where to go when my backyard is flooding? I know just from all these years of experience, it's not graded properly. So let's get someone out there. I've got a person. So becoming the resource for
Yeah.
anything that anyone could possibly need. They messaged me, do you have someone that can do this random thing? If I don't, I'm not going to say I don't. I'm going to go find that resource
Cool.
for them and then pass it along and
Excellent.
become that person that is your go-to for
Yeah.
anything.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that. All right. Give us something you would not do again.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
how much time do we have? Some of us have to learn that. Never trade self-worth or sanity for business. For business. Sometimes you learn that lesson real quick. It didn't take me long for that, but it's amazing. For the most part, I think most humans are good and you're there to help them and find a solution. But when, you find people that, you know, they're not good people. They're almost abusive. I've been told, to sit down. You need my money. You're going to do this. No,
Yeah.
I've been told, I'm the captain of the ship. And if you don't let me manipulate you to do the way no, thank you. So, I think just knowing your self-worth and knowing your values and not, you don't have to put up with anything. You don't have to work with people if it's not good for your mental health or for you. Some money is not good money. So I think, you work with people long enough, you in the business long enough, and you learn when to say, no, it's not a good fit, but I can refer you.
Yep. Saying no is one of the hardest things.
It is, especially when you're starting to like, I need to feed my kids. My dog is hungry. I can do it. I can run 100 miles. I can do anything. Yes. Could I do that? Yeah. Is it worth it? Nope, not
Yeah.
anymore. So
Yeah.
just really understanding and having confidence in yourself. It's hard to say no, but once you do it and you realize the world didn't end, it's okay. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Great advice. And what's interesting is that I find like in this category, realtors, I hear a lot of it. It's like it gives you the freedom, right, to go crazy and build whatever empire you want to build, but the freedom to maintain whatever your health is, whatever it means to
Right.
you, right? I do find that as a great business, right, where people think, unfortunately, agents do get a bad rap, but we know people like you, the successful agents that are dealing with, $1 million, multi-million biggest transactions of these people's lives and counting on you and the caring of the successful agent. The difference, is people should know it's not, the the bad rap that agents get. It's just not the case. I'm sure it is with some of those that don't care, but if you want to be
Right.
successful like you, this is the advice I think that, people need.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with I've had people shocked when I can, you're working with someone and you're in the business long enough, you can kind of start to read almost any personality. And, these people decide on a house and you can tell they're not sure. They're not sure. They're telling you, write it up. Okay, let's do it. And they sound defeated. They don't sound happy. They don't sound excited. They're not homeless. So this isn't a dire situation, but they're settling, and I've told people, go home and sleep on it. Let's talk in the morning. And if you feel good about it, then let's do it. And I'll let the other agent know, hey, we're bringing an offer to you. And if I have to cancel that, great. But the next day they just feel better. And 90% of the time they still go through with it, but they were able to sleep on it and just breathe and not feel panicked into it. And then they thanked me. It's happened numerous times. They're like, thank you for giving us that time. We were so stressed. And it's a big deal. And I'm like, I don't I don't want you to call me with buyer's remorse in 2 weeks. Say, how do we get out of it? That's not what I want. That's not going to make me happy. Well, so you got to forget about the paycheck and really care about people as your own.
Yeah, no, fabulous, fabulous advice. I mean, I can see, and I've bought many, sold a lot of homes. The negative to the agent, if you're not, the agent can read that the couple's really settling. It's a bad turn on the agent to let that go through, right?
Yeah,
To
'cause
your point,
blame
where
you
look,
for the house they bought.
again, great, great tip to not, that's that part of, be helping and not selling, and the sales will
Mhm.
all come as long as you keep helping.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
fabulous, great advice, Samantha. I can't thank you enough. We got some great nuggets from you. Really appreciate the time. Amazing. I will remember you as the ultra runner, which is just absolutely, something that I don't even know what the fraction of percentage of people that are involved in that, but just awesome. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Please follow Samantha. Where can they follow you on social?
I'm sold with Sam on Instagram or Facebook. I gotta just say, I'm not a I'm not the best on social media.
Okay. All right. We'll help you get better.
There's stuff up on there. So yeah. Yeah, I've got people helping me with that. So sold with
Okay,
Sam.
good.
Sold
All
with
right.
Sam.
Well, beautiful. Thank you. Follow Sam
Thank
and
you,
follow
Michael.
Agent Moves on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And until next time, Samantha, thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
You too.